Welcome to our weekly coaching chat Zoom. And today we're going to talk about, we're in the middle of a series called, one moment, right?
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
Okay, we are, let me put you guys on mute. If you're not on mute, go ahead and put yourself on mute. Okay, so we just started a new series and it's about what type of leader are you? So we're going to walk through 4 phases of leadership, and we're going to talk about what kind of identifies you as a particular leader in that particular phase based on where you are, how long you've been in the business, and where you are. Last week we talked about the self-leader, and that's like a brand new person just getting in, just getting going. Today we're going to talk about the accidental leader. And so what our goal is, actually it's 5 levels. If you've not taken the test and you don't know where you are, I'm going to encourage you guys to go take the test so you see where you land. Because what we talk about is, here's kind of how you can identify which phase you're in, 1 through 5. And then what are the enemies? What at that stage of a leadership, what are the enemies at that particular phase? And then, okay, how do we overcome them? And so today we're going to talk about the accidental leader. It's phase number 2. And here's kind of how you identify if maybe whether or not you're in this phase. 1, you've not only built a customer base, but you've also started to build a small team. But you're not quite sure what to do with them. So you kind of almost so hence comes the term accidental leader. You've kind of accidentally stepped into this leadership role. You don't necessarily say, oh my gosh, I don't even look at myself as a leader yet. I don't feel like I'm a leader, but you've kind of backed into it because of who you are. You've attracted people, but now you're like, oh my gosh, I don't quite know what to do with them now that I have them. So that would be a first indicator that you are an accidental leader. You're starting, you've got a customer base, and now you're starting to get partners or distributors. Number 2, you have had some personal results, meaning you've got customers and you're attracting partners. So personally, you're starting to have some results, but your team's not necessarily having any results yet. So that would mean you're kind of in that accidental leader position, and that you personally, and I remember one time I heard, oh gosh, what is his name? He's the big thought leader on leadership. Oh gosh, his name just escaped me. Brenda, are you on here yet?
Yeah, John Maxwell.
John Maxwell, thank you. I always know Brenda. Brenda has the answer. He talked about, if you're a true leader, you know, a leader, and this is what a statement he said, and it always stuck with me, that a leader attracts people, but a great leader attracts leaders. So as I think about this accidental leader, you're starting to attract people. So you're emerging into this leader, whether you're trying to do it or not. But what we're trying to do is move beyond just being a leader, but becoming great leaders, meaning we are leading our people so well that we're attracting leaders. That's how we know, quote unquote, we've arrived. And so that's the goal, that we get to the point we're attracting leaders. So you have had some personal results, but your team's not there yet. Your team, and then the real kicker, or the real determining factor is there duplication on your team? And if you're like, no, not really. I've got distributors, but they haven't started attracting distributors yet. So then you're probably in this phase, this accidental leader phase. And so what we want to do is, identify, okay, what things are going to be difficult at this stage in the game? And then how do we move beyond that to the next level? So here's some areas of growth and the enemies that's going to try to slow you down as this accidental leader. So number 1 is consistency. And if we have consistency, what happens is consistency builds momentum. And if we're having a hard time with our consistency, it may be because we can't find the motivation to be consistent every single day. Now, how much time you invest, we all are on different schedules and we all have different things in our life. So I've always said, and I continue to say, I'd rather have someone who's consistently working this business every day. Even if it's only 30 minutes or an hour a day, consistency will trump time any day. Meaning, I've seen people work this business like a crazy person for 2 weeks and then they'll lay it down for a month. What happens is you get the momentum going, and then when you place it back down, what happens? The momentum comes back. So it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and it's constantly like swaying back and forth. What happens when we're doing that is it really takes away from our own motivation to work, because we work real hard and see a build our business, and then it comes backward. And anytime your business slides backward, that's discouraging and it'll pull us down. So number one enemy is consistency. The next enemy is feeling like this imposter syndrome. Like, oh my gosh, I have these people starting to look at me. I'm not making that much money. I feel like I'm being an imposter leading this team when I feel like I haven't even arrived yet. So we almost allow this thought, this mindset get in our head that, oh my gosh, I'm not coming across as authentic because I'm not where I want to be. So that's kind of a mindset that can get in our head. Number 3, from an enemy of growth, is we have a fear of failing our team. Anybody have that fear? Anybody ever have that thought, oh my gosh, I'm not doing what I need to do to really help my team? Yeah. And so that can really slow us down or be an enemy that literally robs us of our momentum, because we're like, I can't bring on team because I may not really support them, or maybe I don't really know what I'm doing, or I'm not being consistent yet. And so that fear of failing our team sometimes can rob us of really, okay, I'm hearing some people, I'm hearing background.
Probably said
You have not muted
No, we're doing something different.
Hold on a second. Let me mute. Did someone did? Okay, good. Sounds like someone got it. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me see who the guilty culprit is.
Dinosaurs?
Let me see where. Okay, I think I got everybody muted now. That's good. Okay, sorry about that. Let's get back to where we were. Okay, so number 5, rely solely on your own abilities for success. And I've seen this a lot, especially if you get somebody who's pretty confident and they can get customers, they can get distributors or partners to join them, but they're only relying on themselves to get the work done. Anybody ever guilty of that? Like, I can make it happen. Here, I'll do that for you. Instead of taking the time to really develop and train that new distributor or that new partner, it's easier for us to jump in and do it for them. I'm guilty of this. And I'm here to tell you that we cannot, if we want to grow beyond this accidental leader, we have to take the time to really invest in these partners who we're bringing on and help them, walk them through this training. You guys, I'm putting all this stuff on our team website that you can help them, go look. If they're a brand new distributor, then they are that self-leader. Go look at what challenges they're going to have and then how to help them grow. And so instead of, well, I'll just do it for them, well, I'll just go ahead and put the order in. I am so guilty of this. So even though I probably put myself in another phase, I look at this and think, that's an area that I haven't learned well enough in this accidental leader phase that I personally need to go back and need to be reminded, no, take the time and work with your people and help develop and grow them. Even though you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm an imposter here because I'm not making enough money, or I don't know that I feel like I'm that qualified. Yes, you are. We can do this together. But really taking a look at how to really help build and grow our team is huge. People, I'm here to tell you, it's rare. Every now and then you get people who just jump in and take off. But as a whole, 95% of the time, we got to lock arms with these people we bring on board and really help them build and grow into the leaders that we want for our team. So how do we personally grow if we're an accidental leader and we're in this phase? Or I'm sure we all have accidental leaders on our team probably. So how do we either personally grow or help them grow? So first and foremost, and we've been talking about this till we're blue in the face, but I'm telling you, we cannot talk about it enough, is that we have to create, and hopefully most of our systems are set up. You may have to tweak it a bit so that they work for you, but we have to create and utilize systems so that we can be duplicatable. At this phase 2, we're not duplicating. So we have to personally be using systems to the point that people can watch us and they will duplicate what we're doing. If we're not using systems consistently, our team's not going to follow suit. They're not going to have a system. And if we don't have systems, it's going to slow down that duplication process. And it's the duplication process that really, truly will help us grab momentum and build and grow some substantial businesses. Now, the two systems at this stage, this accidental leader stage, the two systems that you want to make sure that you have is a prospecting system and an onboarding system. Kudos to Tish and Precious and Aaron. My goodness, I am seeing, and also Amy Baker. Good grief. Could you guys see how many new distributors came on board last week? Kudos to you. I'm looking at Tish right now and I see Amy Baker's face, and I know Aaron's on here and I know Precious is on here. And I am here to say congratulations, you guys. So now my challenge is, do you know how to onboard them well? And maybe we need to circle back around. If we need to take a break from our leadership and go back and walk through this onboarding process, but we want to make sure these brand new distributors are off to a really strong start. So we need to know how, make sure that we personally have a prospecting system. Do I know how, am I tracking the people, the prospects that I have that I'm in conversation with, and am I following up? Or are people falling through the cracks? Maybe I'm out there prospecting and talking to people, but following up with them, it's just not happening. Then the second thing is, am I using either Team Extreme's website, we've got that onboarding process, or either that or using the Freedom Revolution onboarding process. One of those two systems you need to be using when you're onboarding, and you're taking at least a good 2 to 3 either in-person meetings or Zoom meetings with your new people and walking them through that onboarding process so that they are confident. They know what a prospecting system is. And they've got us there. So what you're doing is taking your systems and you're passing them down to your people. That's how we move beyond an accidental leader to the next level. And then the third thing is accountability. And we talk about it. It is not a word people get excited about, but I'm here to tell you, and I'm preaching to the choir because I know you guys are accountable to get on this call, but we also have to have a system to hold ourselves accountable. And we've kind of talked about it. We've tried a couple things. Here's what I'm going to recommend we start doing every Monday when we jump on these calls. If I'm looking at, okay, how do I build and grow a business? It really boils down to these four categories. And I put initials because everything we do seems like is initials, but PC, prospective customers. We got to be connecting with prospective customers every single week. We've got to be connecting with prospective partners, talking to people about joining us in this business. Number 4, we've got to be talking to our customers, preferred customers. You know what? I always say 50% of my new customers come from referrals from my old customers. So if you're not talking to your customers pretty frequently, then you're missing the opportunity of building a bigger and stronger customer base. And a lot of times we shy away. Oh my gosh, what if they don't like it? What if they're not taking it consistently? What if I call them and they want to quit? That, all of that, I'm telling you guys, we got to break through that and connect. Turn those preferred customers into solidified customers. And then lastly, we got to be talking to the partners on our team. How are they doing? What do you need? How close are you to qualified? Do you know what to say? How confident are you? Can I do some 3-way calls with you? Are there some of your customers that you think would make great partners? So if we're not talking to our partners on our team literally on a weekly basis, we're not doing what we need to do to move beyond accidental leader to the next level. So here's some examples. And these examples, I'm coming from Teamzy, because Teamzy has done the research. Like if you're on Teamzy, you know, you go in and plug in how much money do you want to make. So I went in and said, I want to make $100,000 more than what I've been making. And what Teamzy does is it produces, if that's how much money you want to make, this is how many contacts you have to make. So for me, per week, I need to connect with 15 prospective customers, 15 prospective partners, 15 of my preferred customers, and 15 of my team partners. So for me personally, it's telling me I need to make 60 connections a week if my goal is to make 100,000. Make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, no. Makes sense. Okay. So if you're like, okay, that's too much. I can't make 60 connections a week. Then here's what you need to do to make 50,000, 30 connections a week, 10 prospective customers, 5 prospective partners, 10 preferred customer connections, 5 team, say I don't have 15 distributors yet. Well, you probably have 5, and if you don't even have 5, then I bring that number right up here and I try to connect with 10 prospective partners then. If you're like, okay, I work full time, I got about an hour a day I can invest in this business. So let's shoot for these numbers, 20 a week, 4 a day. We can do 4. If you can give me an hour a day, you can work toward this goal and making this kind of connections. All right, so now I'm gonna quit. Thumbs up or down? Did everybody follow that logic? Okay. All right, so here's the question. Does everybody know what you need to do based on the income you want to shoot for? Yes? Now here's where the rubber meets the road, and I am as guilty as you. If nobody's checking my numbers, how likely am I going to do that? I can say that's my goal. Teamzy reminds me every day. But if I truly want to make those numbers, I've got to invest in the conversations. So we have to somehow hold each other accountable to hitting those numbers every week. Do y'all agree with me? Does anybody feel like, based on the income level I'm shooting for, I'm hitting those numbers every week? Anyone? I'm gonna have an altar call. Anyone coming to the altar? I know what I have to do. I usually, and I'm gonna confess, I know because I use Teamzy, I usually hit about 55%. I'm doing about half of what I really want to do. How about you guys? Do you guys first let me ask, how many of you guys say, I honestly write down every week, whether it be Teamsy, whether it be, what's the other one? What's the other system that we were talking about? Trello, either Trello, Teamsy. I know Karen does a spreadsheet. I know Shelly does a spreadsheet. Is everybody at least tracking your activity? Raise your hand if honestly I'm tracking my activity every week. So
Yes.
Karen, me, Joey, Carrie, you guys tracking your activity?
Yes.
Okay. Some of you I just see names, so give me a hand on or something or put it in the chat. So first and foremost, you have to track. You have to track. Secondly, here's my idea. Do you guys want to, and this is what I'm going to suggest. Amy's tracking. I know Amy's excellent. Allison, what's she saying? Yes on the tracking, no on the hitting it. Okay, so I'm kind of getting a sense that most everyone's tracking it. That's progress, you guys. That it really is progress. Now, the next step, and I'm here, I'm with you guys. I'm not hitting my numbers. Let's start literally first thing when we come on our chat on Monday. Here's what I'm going to see. And if you got a better idea, I'm open for it. But if we really say we want to do what we say we want to do, we got to do the hard stuff. And the hard stuff is really actually making the connections. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay, you see how I have, let me move our picture over. You see this where I have PC, PP, PC, TP. Prospect customers, prospect partners, preferred customers, and team partners. What if first thing off the bat, we jump on and we put PC, PP, PC, TP, and we list how many people. And you guys know, and I know what our numbers need to be. But at least we're holding ourselves accountable to everyone on here who we've all agreed this is an accountability group. We got to start doing it. If I know I got to tell you guys, here's what my numbers look like, and here's what they should, that's going to put a little more of a fire under my belt than what if nobody's checking my numbers. Do y'all agree with me? Are you guys up for that?
Yes.
Okay, and so your upline, hopefully they're on here too. Someone above you's got to be looking at those numbers saying, hey, Lisa, what happened last week? How can I help? What's holding you back? If I know someone's going to say that to me, am I not going to do a little bit better job before I hang it up at the end of the night? Yes, I will. So that's what I'm proposing. Who's in with me? Let put it in the chat if you're like, I'm on board, I'm doing it, I'm willing to be held accountable. I feel like I'm giving a sermon. And I'm feeling guilty myself, but I want this. I want this for y'all. I want this for myself. I don't want to be where I am a year from now. 2021, I want to see big numbers. I want to see big changes in my business. And it truly is boiling down to the non-fun stuff. This is the non-fun part. You know, it's all fun and games when it comes to being, you know, nobody's holding us accountable. We can work it as we want to work it. All the beautiful things about what we do. But this is the not so beautiful thing in that we got to hold ourselves accountable. We don't have a boss breathing down our necks. It is up to us. And it is part of taking that next step of leadership is holding ourselves accountable to do what we say we're going to do. So, okay, I've yak enough. So I'm going to shut up. Let me hear from you guys. Is there anything that you think, okay, here's a downfall that I think may hold me back? Anything? Is there any reason? Does anybody see a problem with our plan? Everybody good with it? Any ideas to make it better?
Elaine, how are you just writing on Teamsy, like, for instance, like for your prospect partner, that Teamsy doesn't track that number. Are you writing those down? How are you doing that?
Well, it's all in. It's what I've been doing is looking at the end of the day. I've been tracking, you know how it'll tell you you hit 37% of your goal or whatever. So my goal, it lumps all the partners together. But my personal goal is I know I can't just get customers. I got to get them both, and I got to be intentional. So I personally just write, I'm just like jotting it on a little scratch paper. But now that I'm going to have to submit it to y'all, you know, I'm going to do a little bit closer follow up of breaking those two down.
Yeah, maybe we could. No,
So if anyone's got a better solution, I'm open, but we got to track and we got to hold each other accountable to what we say we want. How about this? Where do you guys resonate on income? What are you willing to do? If I showed 100,000, 50,000, 25, and that's based on Teamsy's, you know, Teamsy did the research. That they did the research to say, here's what kind of activity it takes. If you want to make 100,000 a year, I think, and I'm here to tell you in 20 years, when I meet with someone and they say, when I say, they're like, I just am not making enough money. Well, how much money are you? I'm only making $300 a month. And how much you want to make? I want to make $3,000 a month. Well, when I literally get them to say, okay, let's talk about how many people you talked to this week. They maybe have talked to 3 people. So we can say we want to make a lot of money, but when the rubber meets the road is, if we're going to make a lot of money, I was just on the call talking earlier, right before this call, talking to Bob Burdick, who makes millions a year at Juice Plus. And he said he said the same thing. He said, you know, he and his wife worked it together. He said within the first 4 months, they talked well over 400 people. Now, is there any reason why he makes millions today? He got it. He got that you can't just talk to a few people, and you got to follow up with those people. And I hope you guys will be on the call tomorrow night, because I know it's going to be fabulous. He's got me so fired up about getting to work. I can't wait to get over there and start talking to people and inviting people to this call Tuesday night. But as I listen to him, I'm just like, he single-handedly has broke us, the Juice Plus company, into more countries than anybody else. Like he said, he'd meet somebody from China in the airport, and the next week he's on his way to China, like to break up, like years ago. I mean, it blows your mind. But I think we think way too small, you know, and we've got to look bigger and say, we have an incredible opportunity here, but we have to work. This is not, I think sometimes when it comes to network marketing, people think it just kind of drops in your lap. Do you not kind of get that feeling when you're talking to people that you just share to a few people, you post a couple posts on Facebook, and you're rolling in the dough? Yeah. I'm here to tell you, no. I've been doing this 20 years. I can't imagine doing anything else, but I'm here to tell you it is a business and it is work. And if you're not going to invest the time, you will not see the paycheck you're wanting to see if you're not willing to talk to people. And so that's where this tracking and moving beyond being an accidental, we got a great personality, so we attract people. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the key is, you know, are we going to follow up? Are we really going to connect and work with these people and work with our team as part of our DMO of that connecting?
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, and we're at 1:00. Any thoughts or comments?
You already touched on it, Elaine. It's that follow-up that is the other, you know, you go to the gym and you lift some weight. Well, you can't just do it once. You got to keep going, and you've got to do it over and over. So that following through, follow up without really agitating people, without getting them frustrated that you're bugging them, is also that other part of it all.
Do we? You know what? You just brought up a really good point, Tish. Do we need to have a follow-up, you know, thing that we track. Like I just track it under following up with that prospect and when they, but maybe we do. What do y'all think? Do we need that?
Isn't that part of tracking? I guess I'm not.
It is,
Sure.
but I didn't break
Yeah.
that out specifically. What are y'all's thoughts
Mm.
on that? Would that be beneficial?
Yes.
Here's why I think it is beneficial, Elaine. What's the number now? Isn't it if you raise it to a person 6 times, or is it 8 times? They finally get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've often thought about that, in fact, on my Trello to say, okay, how many times did I reach out to them? You know, once, did I reach out to them 4 times? Am I dropping them now? Or you and I have had that discussion before where I